All I can remember about being in Europe was cold weather. I think that year France and Germany and Belgium had one of the coldest winters they've ever had. And I know the infantry guys had it really bad, you know, being outside. We had a little bit of warmth in the tank from the transmission, and we had insulated coveralls we wore, you know. Infantry guys were out in the open, and they couldn't even dig foxholes a lot of times because the ground was so hard. So they slept on top of the ground as best they could, you know. But we always appreciated the infantry when they would ride the tanks. They were kind of extra eyes for us. When we were buttoned up in the tank, we had very little peripheral vision. But the infantry guys would ride on the outside, and if they would all of a sudden jump off the tank and start running, we knew we were going to be in for some trouble somewhere. And it was usually a German 88 Tiger tank. We weren't looking for that. Their firepower was far superior to ours, the German 88s. We had it on our tank. We had what we called a 76 millimeter gun. And near the end of the war, we got a new gun on some of the tanks. It was a 90 millimeter. It was fairly close to matching the 88. But the 88s, I'll tell you, if they even missed the tank, it sounded like the sound of a train going by. It was terrible. So,
was your adrenaline just so high during those times that you were just relieved every time you'd get missed or every time you'd make it through?
Yeah. You sit there thinking, well, the next one hit us, you know, and so we were definitely, but you were trained for that. You knew what you had to do, and it was automatic. So.
Did you feel when you were there that you were part of a bigger effort? Did you feel a camaraderie with the armed services in general, with the United States, or did you feel really that you were there with these five guys and the infantrymen, and you were just really there together?
Well, I think you thought pretty much of the five guys you're with. I mean, you're together, and you're going to either go or you're going to make it together. So, and of course, one of the worst things for the driver, which I was a tank driver, you're sitting there not able to do anything. You're just waiting for instructions to move or what to do. So you kept thinking about, you know, if we're going to get hit or not. So
it's a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, you had to be alert all the time, because if all of a sudden you had to make a move and get out of there, well, you know, that you had to be ready.
So alert 24 hours a day, really. Not a lot of sound sleep, not a lot of...
Well, if you're in a tank 24 hours a day, you know, that kind of gets... You feel safe when you're in battle in the tank. I felt more safe than the guys on the outside, the infantry guys, which were under heavy gunfire. Mm-hmm. And I was glad I was in the tank.
Were you injured while you were in the service?
The only injury I got was when I got out of a tank one day in a hurry, and I slipped and fell and hit right on the tip of my back. Mm. And at that time, you slough it off. But later in the years, it started bothering me. And what I had what they call a pine idle cyst. That's what it developed in my rear end. I was in the hospital for that, and they removed that.
How long were you in the service?
I was in the service just under 3 years.
And what did you have waiting for you at home?
Well, I had my mom and dad were at home at that time. I had a chance when I was at Fort Sill, Oklahoma. I played a lot of baseball. And I had a chance to go with the St. Louis Cardinals. I had a St. Louis Cardinals scout follow me around down in the South Pacific, in the southern part of Oklahoma. And I was hoping that I could get discharged and go into baseball. When I did get discharged in 1946, I came home and I met my wife. I wasn't married at that time. I got married, and I kind of let baseball kind of but I forgot it. I played a little bit around locally here, but I didn't try to go. I was 24 at that time, and I always felt if you're going to make it in baseball, you got to do it at a younger age.
So you're a Cardinals fan now?
Well, unfortunately, no. I'm a Cub fan.
Oh, that's not unfortunate. That's a good thing.
I've been with the losers for a long time.
Yeah, I'm from 2 generations of losers, so
Yeah.
we're going to see it, though. It's
Yeah.
going to be the year. Anyway, tell me a little bit about what it was like coming home after having had this experience, after having these close relationships with people. What was it like then to be scattered and to then come back and be expected to live a normal life?
Well, of course, you felt good. The main thing when you got back was I want to get discharged. I want to be out of the Army. I want to quit being taken orders and ordered around. I fell back into. I thought, well, I'll get back into my trade. I was a tool and die maker. The years that I had lost, So I kind of fell back into civilian life fairly good. I just let the bad memories, I forgot the bad memories.
What about the 4 guys? Do you ever talk with them? Did you ever talk with them?
For a few years, I did correspond with them. The one that I corresponded with most was the one I was closest to. It was a big Polak named Stanley Frankowitz. He lived in Duluth, Minnesota. And we used to go through Duluth when we went up north fishing in Canada. So we'd get together periodically and have a few drinks together. And
Would you reminisce?
we'd reminisce about certain players, soldiers. Mm-hmm. Mostly about our buddies in the tank. What's he doing now, you think, and how's he getting along?
When your family asks you to tell a story, is there one that pops into your mind? Is there one thing you'd like to tell that's your sort of either best memory or most potent memory, or something you're willing to talk about?
Well, one of the things that I talked about was when I was out of the tank, we had a German artillery barrage come in, and everybody started finding a place to hide, and I got under the tank, which I don't hardly ever do. But I was under the tank, and unfortunately the tank was settling down, and when it was over, I couldn't get out. So I got claustrophobia bad, and I still have it.
And it's from that, you think?
From that, yeah.
How'd you get out?
Well, the guys pulled me out, but it was fortunate that they could get me out of there.
Wow.
Because I thought I was goner.
Wow. What rank did you achieve when your service ended?
Well, I was what they call a T5 or a tech sergeant. All drivers had that rank, and we always hoped we'd get another rating, get a better rating. My next rating would have probably been a sergeant. So.
All right. Is there anything else that I've missed? I know it's hard to sum up your story in 20 minutes.
Well, one of the things that was a highlight of my service was near the end of the war. It was around the 1st of May. We liberated a POW camp down in Mossberg in Bavaria. This was a large POW camp, but probably was 75,000 in there. Americans, English. The biggest part of it was French. And when we drove through the gates of that POW camp. They just came flooding out. They grabbed us and they hugged us and they hollered, and of course they were so hungry, and they were like skeletons, most of them, the clothes hanging on them. Wanted food. Well, being out in front, we didn't have food other than K rations or C rations. We gave them everything we had, and some of those guys were so hungry they tore these. We had a can of Spam in the K rations. They tore the lid off and got the food and eat it, with their bare fingers. I never saw people so hungry in my life that they were. So, but that was we were real happy that we could do that for them. Most of them have been in there 3 and 4 years, so you know that they were pretty bad shape.
I bet they have some memories of you guys too.
Yeah,
I bet they tell about when you guys came through the gates.
I got a lot of hugs and kisses, and it was a wonderful thing for us to go through.